one of our favorite things to make around Christmas time, Halloween, Valentine's Day, pretty much if there's a holiday, my family is making Ritz crackers filled with peanut butter dipped in chocolate. So when I first started doing this, my husband and I would call us peanut butter fingers. We would use a knife and try to spread the peanut butter on each individual cracker. And then I got smart. So I've lined up on my cookie sheet all of my Ritz crackers. And I get 54, I think. Yeah, 9 times 6 is 54. Okay, so in my intelligence, I used a pastry bag. I cut a small hole in the bottom, about ½ an inch. And then we pipe the peanut butter so that we don't get it all over our fingers. And this makes it so much easier. I also don't use a tip in my pastry bag. It's just the hole in the end because really it requires more washing. And it's really hard to get peanut butter out of a metal icing tip. See? Then you just throw that one away. Get a new bag. Cut my hole in it. And fill it with peanut butter again. So I use, if you've watched any of my cake videos, you've seen me fill an icing bag by getting a glass and using it to stabilize because I only have 2 hands. And unless you have a partner that's going to hold your bag for you, this is the easiest way to go about it. So, once it's basically full of peanut butter, I'm just going to slide the bag back up, push the peanut butter down, and continue on. So once those are done, you take more crackers, put them on top, make little sandwiches. It's one of Elijah's favorite things to eat for lunch, is just Ritz crackers filled with peanut butter. So once we have sandwiches, we are going to put the chocolate. I have 2 pounds of chocolate almond bark that I have broken up into basically the squares that it comes in. We're going to melt that in the microwave on 2 minutes, for 2 minutes anyway, and stirring after every minute or so. I have a little more peanut butter in my bag, so instead of wasting it, there we go. Let's make 4 more crackers. Now it's time to melt our chocolate. So it took about 2.5 minutes to get all of the chocolate to melt, and it's really smooth. And now it's time to dip our crackers. So, one at a time, I drop them in the chocolate. I use tongs, flip them around, shake off the excess chocolate, otherwise you have a giant chunk of chocolate, and lay them on parchment paper. And we're going to keep doing this until we have dipped all of them. And they need to sit out on your countertop or cookie sheet or wherever it is that you are leaving them to cool for at least an hour before you move them. But if you notice, the chocolate right now is really shiny When it is no longer shiny and it has more of a matte finish, you know that they are cooled enough to move. And I also twist them around to make sure that we've got chocolate on all sides and there's no peanut butter sticking out or cracker sticking out. These will actually keep for a really long time, as long as the chocolate is covering all of it. I think the longest we've kept them is a month, and that's because I hid them. If you leave them out in this house, they are gone. I have 3 chocoholics. I mean, the 4th one's in the closet. She doesn't tell anybody she's not a chocoholic. Here are our last 2. If you'll notice this one over here in the corner, that's one of the first ones that I did. Half of it is still shiny and half of it is that matte look. It's almost dry, but we're going to let them cool for at least 2 hours because we want to make sure they are completely dry before we move them. And I have a bunch of chocolate left over. I overestimated what I needed. So in this case, I can either make more of the Ritz crackers to melt, I can wrap this in tin foil and save the chocolate, or I can take some pretzels and roll it through it and make chocolate covered pretzels. I'm going to make more Ritz crackers. So our Ritz crackers with peanut butter and chocolate have been chilling for about 2.5 hours, maybe 3. Anyway, now it's time to just store them. You can store them in an airtight container for, we've done it for 3 months because I hid them and forgot where I hid them, and they were still good. But if you're anything like our house, they won't last a week. And here they are.